Morning, everybody. It is 8:16 a.m. It is March 3rd. Welcome to my channel. Now, the Iran, U.S., Israel thing is heating up. The Strait of Hormuz being closed off, or possibly being closed off. Oil's shot up again, $76.30 a barrel. That's just not good in general for the economy, for inflation. That's going to send some waves again through our market. So we wound up pushing through yesterday's lows in the overnight session. Okay. We're still not into yesterday's session. Recovering. We'll see. Okay. Now, this process is like I said yesterday. You have to start pricing this into our markets. Okay. This is the process, right? So the Strait of Hormuz is shut down. Oil keeps rising. It's not going to be good. Okay. But eventually, it's just going to be like noise because it's priced in. The market knows about it now. Okay, now there could be more things that could happen that could possibly push the markets down lower. Okay, all right. So when you see this multiple times happen since I've started trading, you kind of see how the markets handle these things. Okay, sometimes it's a little more wild with like Ukraine and Russia, where like I think oil went up to 100 and something dollars a barrel, which is not going to be good for the markets, right? But then eventually it just kind of like prices it all in. If crude goes over $100 a barrel, this is not going to be good for markets. Will probably continue to go down. It just affects the whole economy. Okay? So it's always yet to be determined. But if crude shoots up to 80 to 90 and then things start to cease, oil will start to come back down. And this will just be like a road, like a little speed bump on markets because markets are forward looking. Okay, that's the one thing you have to understand. They call futures a discount mechanism. Forward looking, they look 6 months ahead in the future. That's why, like, when you try to outsmart markets, it doesn't work because you can't apply something the market knows about and say that this is going to crash if the market knows about it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. I used to do it myself, right? You used to think you're smart. Oh my God, see, this is the news. This is what it's going to do. And then it doesn't correlate with price because it's priced in. All right, let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and buying profile to find structure in the markets. Market supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. Also use Anchor View Ops, market internal, my bread and butter. Some little ICT thrown in there. My weekly expected move indicator you can get on my Discord. Okay. And that's how I come up with game plans, okay? Now, if you want to join me, please join me every morning. Subscribe, set an alert, give you the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, the leaders and the laggards, technical analysis, and the long and short trade scenarios in the ES and the NASDAQ futures. If you want more in-depth coverage, go to live every day. Join my Discord. It's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay? Okay. Now, let's get the futures watch list. And let's see. Oh, my lord. All right, so we are going to have some volatility, folks. The VIX is up 17.30%. It's at a 25. Okay, get ready. 25 VIX. Now, if it stays this way, this is very, very volatile. Okay, very volatile. So, expect crazy moves. You're going to see those candles pulsating. Okay, 25 VIX. Now, yesterday, you saw it a little bit off the open, but we just ripped up. and then it kind of was okay. It wasn't really that crazy, right? And again, I called this yesterday in my pre-market. I said I am long bias right now. I am long bias, but it just didn't set up. The first 15 minutes just flew up, and then it kind of, internals were strong, so it wasn't really going to go down. Okay. Now, crude up 7.24%, $76.42 a barrel. 10-year yields flying up. People are selling bonds. Dollar up 0.82. Dollars coming back here. You don't want the dollar to go up and crude to go up. Okay. 30-year bonds being sold. Dow down 1.33, ES down 1.36, Nasdaq's down 1.83, Russell down over 2%, gold down 2.34. Interesting, good gold's down. Bitcoin's down 3%, Ethereum down almost 4, silver down 6.75% or over 6.5%. Interesting. Interesting that the metals are taking a hit right here. Probably because of the dollar. Maybe because of the dollar. Okay. Moving on. Mag 7 Plus. Mag 7 Plus. We are going to, there's no leaders. We're going to go to the 2%ers. We'll put Tesla in there. Tesla's down almost 2%. Netflix down 2%. Amazon down 2.12. Nvidia down 2.30. Broadcom down 2.55. Google down 2.63. AMD down 3.42%. Coinbase down 3.64. All right, top sectors. Of course, you got your Exxon and Chevron leading the pack, up 1.32 and almost percent. All right, now over the 1.5%ers here, Uber down 1.5, United Healthcare down 1.5, Qualcomm down 1.66, Palantir down 1.84, Caterpillar down 2%, GE Vernova down 2.06, Oracle down 2.76, and the mining stock down 4.5%. All right, so Oracle down 2.69%. The mining stock down over 4.5. Sectors. Okay. Energy, no surprise there, up 1.24%. And then you got a 1%ers here. Industrials down 1%. Utilities down 1%. Communications down 1.16. Financials down 1.23. Discretionary down 1.64. Basic materials down 2.12. Technology down 2.20. Semiconductors down 3.10%. Risk off. However, I don't trust this. Okay? Everything is down except energy. Everything is down. Okay? Moving on. We're going to look at the economic calendar. All right, let's see what we have on tap today. We have Fed Williams speaking at 9:55, Fed Kashkari at 11:55. That's about it. Let's go to the Trump tracker. Mr. Trump. Let's see what we got him doing today. 9 a.m. Intel. So 11 a.m. Let's see. He participates in a greeting with the Chancellor at the Federal Republic of Germany. Let's see. Boards in a bilateral meeting at 11:15. Launch. The President participates in a meeting with the Secretary of Treasury and the Secretary of Energy. That's a big one at 2 p.m. Hopefully, I'm done with trading. I don't want to be in that. All right. President participates in a policy meeting, and that's about it for today. All right, that's what goes on there. Now, let's see in the morning. Now, I know Iran attacked some embassy or something like that, and Trump vowed that some like revenge. Let's see here if there's some stock, because everything's pretty much down. I don't think that stock. Let's see here. Go some more news here. All right, so we know this. Global oil and gas shipping costs surge as Iran vows to close the Strait of Hormuz. I talked about this already. See, Tower for Fun seekers flock to little-known U.S. court with big case experience. State Department switches to OpenAI. I talked about that. Paramount, $110 billion Warner Brothers deal likely to secure FCC backing. Ticketmaster and Live Nation's antitrust trial begins in New York. Let's see here. Yeah, that's about all I'm going to talk about. Let's go to some breath readings because now, yesterday, remember I said the breath was not that bad, right? Wasn't that bad. So now I got some more results here. I'm just going to go to my little breath readings here. Let's get into it. The first thing we're going to look at, is our nicey. Let me just tee it up for you guys. So here's the nicey. This is at a 58%. So we have went down as buy signals. This was at 60 something. It's at 58. So the breath is starting to weaken. Okay, the breath is starting to weaken. That's the New York Stock Exchange. Okay, that's, let's call it 2,800 stocks, something like that. All right, now the bullish percent index of the S&P 500, that's only 500 stocks, 59%. So it's starting to weaken. Let's go to the NDX. This is at 56. Okay. The real one we want to get into is the technology. Look at that. It's starting to fall apart again. 38% of the technology is at buy signals. That is starting to deteriorate again. It will deteriorate again after today. This is still a weak spot in our market. And then finally, we're going to go to the breadth. Percentage of stocks over the 50-day moving average. Okay, let's zoom in here. Okay. Percentage of stocks above the 50-day. So it's still at 62% yesterday. 62%. You can see we've just been middling here. You need to really go down to like 30 to like really see something. Okay. But this is still middling, but weakened a little bit. So that's just your little breath check-in. That's always, I just want to always see that these breath readings, okay? Now, that brings us to internals. Yesterday, internals. All right. So, yesterday we had very bullish internals. Now, while I was in live, I said, okay, we ripped up from the open. And I was like, great, right? And I said, bullish internals, all four top sectors are very bullish. Pullbacks, and this, I don't have VWAP on here, but VWAP was bought a bunch of times. All right, gave you a couple of chances here. Now, it didn't even retrace, I don't think at this point, to 50%. It might have been 50% at the time. But the market was like, I was waiting for a little. I wanted these lows to get broken for me to go long, but it didn't. It wasn't in the cards, and then it pulled back, and then it pulled back again, and then it went up and went up, and then it went down. We were not gonna go down much, so I said to my channel, the easiest trade here is a long. But these, like, even when this is 5-minute candles in the SPX, these weren't the easiest. Okay. So, I basically didn't have a trade yesterday. All right. But these market internals up to like 459, you're not going down. So, the easiest trade was a long. It didn't come to my area of interest, so therefore I didn't have a trade. So, and what happened was, what I've learned was, when the market came into the areas that I'll show you later of heavy resistance, in the last week or two, when these internals were like this, I would think about shorting. And I was talking about this live, and I was like, I would probably have shorted last week here. But I'm not going to fight those bullshit internals. Okay, now I was talking about that right here, and you did get a pullback. But look at this, just still got bought up. Didn't matter, right? So I am looking for low-hanging fruit right now. All right, now let's go to the daily charts. What do the daily charts have for us? Okay, so what did we do? We swept this liquidity, right? And we opened here. And we only had that little push down before we went up to where? Year to date anchored VWAP. Again, 50-day moving average, 20-day moving average. And I was saying, oh boy, they went into the spider web. It's probably not going to keep going. And it didn't. It didn't. Okay? But check this out. Where are we now? 675 all the way down here. Okay? This is below last month's lows. We're all the way down here. Let's zoom out a little more. We're down here, folks. Right here. The bottom of this big balance area. It's where the rubber meets the road, folks. This market has proved to us time and time again it cannot go lower. It cannot go higher. So either this is a big buying opportunity or we're about to fall apart. Okay? Now, in a measured move, okay, what you want to look for is if we do fall apart. You want to look for is a measured move. This is a very okay, so let's see. If you do a measured move, that means you double the balance area. Okay? So let's see here. Oh, this is not going to let me do that way. Hold on a second. Let's do it this way. So you double the balance area right there. So a rough estimate, look at that, lines up with 655, basically the 200-day moving average. That's what you should expect if we really broke out of this balance. A move down to 655. That's a measured move based on the balance area. That's basically a measured move. Okay? You could expect that to the upside possibly if you went to the upside. So that's a little tip. So we're right on the edge, folks. Look at all these weekly levels. Weekly low, monthly low, monthly low. Such a big area. Okay? Do we really fall apart? I have no clue. Expected move to the downside is 666. Interesting, 666, my lord. Okay? So, let's look at futures. Look at futures here. You can see right here, we came down to last month's lows, swept the previous session's lows. Now we're inside. So, if past this prologue, what do you think we're going to do? I would think the expected move would be at least to last week's lows and maybe even higher. Based on this right now. You swept this swing low, swept yesterday, and now you're coming back into range. I would expect us to go higher. Okay? You can't be a perma-bear and just go, see, war, we're falling apart, let me get nervous. This is all priced in. Okay? Now, Qs. Let's see. So the Qs. It still has a big balance area. Not as clean. All right? We can kind of say this has been the area. Okay? That's been the area. What did we do yesterday? We hit the 20-day moving average, 90 EMA daily. Look at all that resistance right there. Okay? Where are we now? 595. 595 right here. Okay? Again, bottom of this area. It's where the rubber meets the road, folks. Okay? 200-day moving average is not far away. 587. Okay? Expected move to the downside. 584. Okay? So, What do we do? What do we do? 595s. Right there. Okay, let's look at futures. Here we are. Look at that friggin' look at look at all this trading. It's crazy. Okay? Now, Nasdaq futures. Here we are. Swept yesterday's sessions lows, trying to come back into range. Swept this swing low right there. Okay? You did not take out this swing low. This is last month's lows. We are not by last month's lows. Okay? We are not by last month's lows. The ES is. Okay? So, right now, we have to see. We swept this low yesterday, and we're trying to see if we can push back in. Expected move could be back to 2466 at least, last week's lows, or higher. Okay? Now, maybe we do push down a little bit lower off the open, and you just really have to watch this market. Now, there is a prior demand here in a daily demand right here. So I have this on my charts. You'll see it in futures, but right here. Now, daily is a big area, but right here you had a big daily candle that we exploded from right there from the past. And this has been bought up, has been bought up, has been bought up. And does it get bought up again? Maybe. Maybe. Okay? Now, that is your Nasdaq futures. Real quick, we'll do a sector roundup. Let's go to the largest sector. My market cap weight is your XLK. Looks very similar to the Nasdaq, right? Almost hitting the 200-day moving average, right? We're probably past that now, 136. We're right on the 200-day moving average, so that's notable. The technology sector is at the 200-day moving average. Very notable. Very, very, very notable. Okay? Let's look at financials. Financials has been taking a downturn as well. But look, yesterday was positive. Right now, we're under the 200-day moving average. So financials has been weak. This is the year-to-date anchor VWAP. From the previous year, we're under that as well. So this is pretty weak financials. Okay? Let's go to the third guy. Believe now, third is, I'm just getting my sector weights here. 10, third is communications has taken over the third spot, so we'll go to communications. That's your Google, your Meta, your Netflix. Okay, let's just look at that real quick. Ooh, relatively strong. Relatively strong. Communications. Currently at 115, 116, but currently pretty strong. Let's go to discretionary. That's your Amazon, your Tesla, your Home Depot. A little weaker, right? Underneath the 200-day moving average. Broke the 200-day. So you can see right now our heavyweights have been getting hit. All right? Except communications. Except communications. Okay? And let's see our next one here. We just did discretionary financials. The next one is healthcare. And healthcare, I think, has had a lift, I believe, of late. All right. Yes, healthcare has been strong, relatively strong. Okay, Eli Lilly. All right. In times of need like this, right, everybody needs healthcare. It's not something that's going to go into a shortage. It becomes more of a safety play. And XLP has been on a monster run. Okay, XLP has been on a monster run. Okay, that's a flock to safety. So that's just your sector roundup, right? That's what makes up our market. And it's been very mixed, as you can see, right? So we can move on now to hourly charts. The big old hourlies. And you can see exactly what I'm talking about. right here in the hourlies. Okay, so let's talk about hourlies. All right, so let's go over hourlies together. So yesterday, remember what I said? I said I'm long. I want to be long bias from the market yesterday. Okay, so that was the overnight low from the previous day, right? We came in, we pulled back. There was a bullish fair value gap right in here, and then the market just ripped up, broke that swing high, right? And we just ripped. And it was just going up, 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 up each hour. Okay? And then it went into this supply zone. Okay? Now, kind of closed right there. That was yesterday's highs. But it came into a highly congested area. Then, obviously, more conflict happened, and it just fell apart. Now, if you guys watch me, okay, the market's very efficient. The market is very efficient. I want you to pay attention to this price action from right here. This is just up, 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 up. Not a lot of consolidation, okay? And what happens? When you get weakness in a weak market, what happens? Zoom. Clean that right up. That's gone. Efficient market, right? And then when it gets very weak, it just takes out this. Boom, boom, boom. Takes out yesterday's overnight lows. Takes out last month's lows. And now look how wild this market is. So what happened is we dropped like an anchor, put a knife in the ground right here, last month's lows, closed back within yesterday's overnight, tried to push up, went into where? The nice bearish FEG, this imbalance, and this told us, okay, that's a weak market. Okay, this is poor structure. Okay, so if this market is going to gain some footing, let's say it does this and we do this, as long as it breaks 6,800 per se, this is all poor structure. And in a volatile market, woof, it could get cleaned up very easily. Remember, the job of the market is to price stuff in that it doesn't know. Oil could be shooting up. Market has to price that in. Once it's priced in, the market can continue to go up like the market usually does. Okay? Use these bearish FEGs as your temperature gauge. They're your temperature gauge because it's a bearish FEG or a bullish is poor structure. It's a vacuum, right? It's an imbalance. And you have to look at it both ways. A strong market rips through them. A weaker market uses it as resistance. So this right here is telling me, okay, came in here, it's resistant, right? That's a temperature check. Okay, that's a little bearish. That's a little bearish. The first try at it. All right. You got almost a bearish engulfing candle coming down here. Do we take out last month's lows? I don't know. That's a nice liquidity level, right? So, where is last week's lows? Let me just make sure here. Right there. Yeah. That's last week's lows. We're in a new range, right? We're making new weekly ranges. Now, let's look at the daily candle. Look at that daily candle in futures. My Lord. That's a big red candle. But in the last 4 hours, we're really undecided. It's a kind of a doji. Hence, this action, right? And you gotta be, there's about an hour and 13 minutes right here left in this 4-hour candle. Okay? So, again, I would still lean long here. because about this liquidity levels. Again, it's going to be very volatile today. Okay? Very, very volatile. So, what am I going to look for here? This level's pretty key. That's yesterday's overnight lows. Okay? You can see the whippy action we have. Okay? So, if we push down, sweep that again, come back in here, close, yeah, that's a long. That's a long, and you could just see if you can ride it. Who knows where it goes? We're very volatile. Okay, that was a nice move, and boom, you're getting taken out. That is very violent selling. Okay, also very poor structure. Let's go to the NASDAQ. It's not going to be much different. Okay, now we do know NASDAQ's not hitting that liquid last month's lows. It's not hitting it yet. Let me see where those are. Let me just make sure I'm not lying. Yep. Okay. So last month's lows are all the way down here. So Nasdaq's relatively stronger as far as the monthly. 24240 is last month's lows. We are not by them, but the ES tested them. Okay. The ES tested them. So in the Nasdaq hourly chart, same thing, came up to where? Woo boy, those equal highs. Those equal highs, man, it was just like people, that was an exact short right there. Okay? It needed to get above that to take out that poor structure. It failed. Went through ultimate balance again. What happens in ultimate balance? Big moves happen. Boom, boom, boom. We're back down. Right? But what are we going into? Remember that large demand zone I talked about in the Qs? Well, we're here. Okay? You can see yesterday's overnight lows. This is a swing low from the past that we broke. This is the overnight lows right now. Okay, remember the doji 4-hour and a very bearish daily candle in futures. Again, we came into this bearish FEG, and the first temperature check is bearish. But we're in a big, big demand zone. Okay, big, big demand zone. And like I said, if past this prologue, this market has not shown us that it can go down very like easily. Just doesn't seem like it can go down very easily. Okay? Now this, when I first started trading, might scare the bejesus out of me and going, oh my God. We just took, now that doesn't do anything to me. I don't have any feeling. It doesn't mean anything to me. Now I'm just looking for opportunity, right? So, again, first test of the bear FEG. All right. You could have blown through that, but you didn't. This is bearish. But I know there's big demand here. I know that we swept liquidity here. How much does the shorts have in it? They might have it today. I don't know. Okay? So, what it is for me is, what do I got to see? I don't even care if we come down here and sweep that, but if we close back inside here, boom, that's a long. Okay? I'm all over that long. You got to be. Now, if internals open up, remember, if you're live with me, you'll see the live internals of the market. We'll know what's driving the market. That's a huge edge. That will tell me, do I want to go long, or am I going to sit on the sidelines a little bit and let data like update? Okay? Right now, I am not a fan of shorting. Right now, from what I am seeing, do I want to just short this market? Hell no. Nope. And I know the open might make me feel like, whoa, that's a pretty nice selling. Because that's what the market does. It will rope you in emotionally. Trust me, I know how that feels. Oh my God, look at this. It's ripping, it's ripping, it's ripping. And then all of a sudden a knife gets in the ground. And you're like in the past when I was starting as a trader, I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to short this with the war and that, blah, 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 blah. And then I get my face ripped off. because I'm like, wait a minute, this is supposed to go down. It already happened yesterday, right? Is this different? I don't know. That's what we're there. That's why we have a market, right? That's why when a market opens, the market's going to do irrational stuff. It doesn't make sense sometimes. You're like, this doesn't make sense. I mean, it does. Honestly, now it makes sense. But like in the past, I'd be like, that doesn't make sense. Why are we going up? Doesn't make any sense. That's when you lose in the market because you try to make sense of price action, right? When I know it's buyers and sellers. It doesn't always have to be about the news. Okay? Now, let's move on. Market profile, volume profile. We'll get into our scenarios. Scenarios. Okay? Okay, there's a couple things here I'm looking at. So let's get into it. This is your market profile and volume profile. Beautifully laid out with overnight sessions, real-time trading hour sessions. Oh, I love it. I really love it. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, so we're like right on our ES here. Let's split out the session. Price action of the overnight. Okay, price action of the overnights. All right, now, this is notable. This is notable. What I'm going to show you is an edge. We are 100% net short. And we're down at the bottom of the session. Okay? That means there is no longs to be had here. So, what does that mean when I say 100% net short in the overnight inventory? There's no shorts. There's no longs. So, if everyone is short, okay, and you're at the bottom, this is when a very nice contrarian trade appears, as well as the overnight VPOC is right here. Inside, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my lord. My lord, oh, lord. I'm on the NASDAQ. Hold on a second. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that. Let's go to the ES. Let's go to the ES. Getting ahead of myself here. Let's move this up. Let's move this up. Okay. So, same thing here. Let's split it out. Remember, NASDAQ's hasn't played with last month's lows. ES has. Okay? No different here. I'm going to give you that tip again. Overnight session opened here. The only short activity is that little guy right there. Everybody is short. You're 100% net short. We're at the lower part of the overnight session. Okay? So, overnight VPOC around here, 67, 69. Beautiful. We know shorts are living here. So, back to what I was saying. Okay? Whenever you have 100% net short inventory and you're trading at the lows and the VPOCs here, it sets up for a contrarian trade. In this case would be a long. Okay, so what I'm going to look for here, is that long. Okay? Let's get right into scenarios now. I hope everybody understands what I'm saying. If you don't, put a question in the chat. Okay? This is very important. All right? And this is what I'm trying to concentrate on and really talk about my edge, right? This is one of them. This is an edge. Okay? I've seen this multiple times. This is beautiful. You're at the lower end. We just sold off. 100% net short. You swept liquidity. It's great. Okay? We're in an area where I just showed you a big balance range. We're at the lows of that balance. Can we break down? I don't know. But this is when we take in the edge. Okay? So we're going to go with a long. Okay? We know we're 100% net short. We know we're at the lows. We know we got a VPOC of the overnight chilling here. We know there's shorts there. Okay? What would I look for? I'm going to look for a push down to get everybody nervous, break the overnight lows. That's 67.42s. Now, we might need to tip our toe into this big demand zone here. Boop. If we go and close like this, inside the overnight range, boy, oh boy. You take out the 67.67s. Okay, remember, those are shorts there. You're going to lift up at least to this swing high. Now, if you break that swing high, just look at the volume, folks. This could be a rocket ship. This could be a rocket ship. My Lord. Remember, 100% net short. I'm not saying this happens. I'm saying it's possible. What do we have? I'm going to bring out my boy. It's the inverse elephant on a toothpick. Inverse elephant on a toothpick. Poor structure. Okay? Poor structure. The beautiful part about this is there's two things here. You can talk about the bearish FEGs, but what you really see in volume is people's behavior. There is not a lot of volume in any of this price action. Okay? This is just emotional selling, which can get ripped. Okay? There's not a lot of volume transacted there. It's an expressway. All right? So, that's what I would love to see. Now, what else can happen here? Okay, so I gave you maybe the sweep, boom, 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 and we can see how high we can go. Right? Now, we might not get that. I also know we could do one of these. Rip up here, come back, hold the most traded price of the overnight 67.67s, and also go up as well. Okay? That's what I look at as the longs. Now, shorts. Like I said, I am not a fan yet of shorts. I'm really not. Okay, I've seen this movie before. Okay? I'm not, even though I think we can get a sell off the open, that's not my trade. It's not how I trade. I don't like trading the open. All right? There's not a lot of edge in it. It's kind of like a gamble. Okay? So, what can I expect from a short? If you want to be one of those shorts, and we open up here, right? You can drive off the open. Maybe take some off at the overnight lows. If you go into this, I'd probably take some off here in this major demand zone. Okay? That could be the trade. And then remember, I would expect some bounce here. Now, this is where a short comes in. Okay? This is where a short comes in. Now, if this market, let's say, does this, but then or does this, and we find ourselves in this imbalance, this bearish FEG, this swing high. Okay? And let's say the market internals, which you will know what they are if you're on my Discord, are not that strong. Whoa, it's not that strong. We're just getting a reflexive bounce because Steve said the overnight inventory was 100% net short. Okay? And we get one of these. Whip, boom, lower high. Now, you can trap those longs. And you could find yourself trying to test out this demand zone. Now, everything on top of this is gravy. I don't think this area is going to provide much. I don't think this area is going to get cut through very easily. Okay? That's why you want to trade this part, because you'll punish all these longs. Okay? Now, 50% retracement of this range is 68.14, so note that for those Fibonacci players out there. Okay? This is, and also obviously gap fill, 68.04s. Let's put that as well. Lines up in this bearish FEG, right? We kind of did that here. That swing high kind of went to yesterday's lows. Okay. Now, if this comes out and I see it, maybe I will like it. Maybe. I'm more leaning towards a long. Okay. Now, let's move over to the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ. All right. The good old NQ. We know that I gave you that edge. 100% net short in the overnight. Price down at the lower portion of the range. Edge is in play. That's an edge. Okay? It's an awesome, awesome edge. Now, we are already in that major demand zone in the NASDAQ. Okay, so let's get right into the scenarios, folks. I don't know who's out there. I hope you're watching these golden nuggets. Okay? Golden nuggets. So, let's do the long, which I am biased to. 100% net short. Okay? Most traded price of the overnights is right here. 24483s. 24483s. Right there. We know the most trades of the overnight are here. Okay? We know we took out this overnight low, previous overnight low. We swept it. Okay? Now, what am I looking for? Let me see a drive off the open. Take out the overnight lows. Sweep it. Then get a nice rally and a close in a higher low. Now, your first test is going to be this 24480. Let's call it the overnight VPOC. If this market goes like this, zoop, oh, this is going to just go like this. Zzz, it's going to rip. It's going to rip. Okay? It's going to be glorious long. Remember, 100% net short. That's what makes it even fuel more the move higher. Okay? That's even more of a reason to take off. Now, what else can it do? All right? If you want to be conservative, and let's say it does this, and you're like, oh my God, really? Well, as long as it pulls back to this 24480 overnight VPOC, this also can be the pullback where you launch like a rocket. Maybe go back to ultimate balance at your 249s. All the thin volume again, right? That's my inverse elephant on a toothpick. My boy, right there. Inverse elephant on a toothpick. Okay? This is people's behavior. You have to realize that this is people's behavior, not a lot of volume. Susceptible to just get ripped. Okay? Now, shorts. Let's look at the shorts together. Okay, let's look at the shorts together. So, same thing. If you want to be brave, okay, and I think you'll probably get it, but I don't trade this way. Off the open, I think you rip. Boom, and that could be your trade. Boop. Don't know how far it goes. But when it rips back, get out. Okay? So, if you get that move, fine. I want to see this move, and then I want to see, Steve said it could rip 100% net short, and then we run into here, which is the gap fill, 24605s, and then you have your 50% retracement. Okay? These are the areas where people are going to look to take profits from longs. So, if I see this, close, then another lower high, and let's say tech is down in the laggard and semis, buy longs, then it can fall. Remember, the bearish FEG is your temperature gauge. If we go a little higher to 50% retracement in SmackDown 2, could also go lower. Again, This is not something like I really want to do. Okay. But if the market tells me that's the play, then that's the play. I'm more apt to go long. Definitely more apt to go long. Okay. That's my plays, folks. Now, smash that like button. If you enjoyed that analysis, I hope you did. All right. Now, hopefully, you join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. I do this every day. Market story, the economic calendar, the leaders and the laggards, the market news, the blah, 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 the technical analysis. And I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and ES futures with my edge, with the overnight inventory, 100% net short. I'm telling you right now, that is a rocket ship waiting to take off. Okay? It's a glorious move when this overnight inventory is 100% net short or net long. It is a glorious, glorious move. Now, do I get the setup that I want? That I don't know. Okay? Maybe you're going to be like my friend Rosita, who's getting my excitement in this now, and she might go into a call based on this analysis. She made money yesterday based on my analysis yesterday. I don't know. Right? If you're out there and you're listening, you're like, maybe I will buy a call off the open. Right? But I'm going to more react, right? Because I don't know what's going to happen. But if I see that real quick sell off and then you get that higher low, oh boy, hold on. Hold on to the rocket. All right? So, now, if you want more in depth coverage today, I will be going live. Probably around 9:50, 9:55, around that time. Okay? You're going to join my Discord. Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay? I'm your indicator pre-market. I'm your indicator intraday. I will never steer you wrong. I am very cautious. I am waiting for my edge. My one edge right now is coming out. 100% net short in the overnight inventory. Trust me on that. All right? Chilling at the lower end of the session. Buy the overnight VPOC. Begging for a big move. We will get it, folks. There's a volatility today. So I'm already know I'm probably going down might be going down to 2 contracts in an MES because I know this volatility is going to kick up. Okay? That's about a 20-point risk. It might even have to go to 1 if this is like 20, 25 points every 5 minutes. It might, the NASDAQ is going to be out of control. That thing is going to be a wild insanity. And if you trade the NASDAQ, okay, you might want to go over to the ES today because it's going to trade like the NASDAQ normally does. Okay? The NASDAQ is a wild beast. Okay? So, again, everybody have a great day. Great day. Remember, no trade's a trade. I hope I get into one, but if I don't, I don't. Okay? Hope everybody has a green day as well. Okay, let's get this market. All right, maybe I get that setup, fall right into my lap, and then it's worth the risk. Okay, so I hope I see everybody in my Discord. If I don't see you in my Discord, I'll see you guys.